Hello everyone, get ready for some trending new info in your quest for knowledge. If humans live to be 500 years old, what hobbies would you get around to getting good at? I don't know, to be honest, but dating would be really weird. Met this gal last weekend, she's 412 years old. Oh dude, that's just wrong, you're only 112, how can you be with a chick that's 300 years older than you? You know the rule, dude, half your age plus 50. Gardening would be very fun. It wouldn't be intimidating to start growing trees. Don't be intimidated by growing a tree. The world needs more trees. I'm not saying plant an oak tree 3 feet from your house, that's going to be a headache in 30 years, but plant a tree. Plant 20 more than you want and chop the ones you don't want down and keep the best one. No need to be intimidated. It's amazing to watch a tree grow, and most trees don't need 500 years. Most trees' lifespans are only 100 to 200 years and many are shorter. They say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best is today. This might be one of the few serious answers, but cooking. Even if some don't consider it a hobby, I would learn recipes from all around the world, so when someone is in the mood for something, I can make the best possible version of that thing. When you get good at cooking, you don't just learn recipes. Over time, you adapt them and change them subtly to your own tastes. Eventually they become your own, and after 500 years, my God, you'd make some mouths water from the smell of your kitchen. I agree. Perhaps a better word than recipes would have been techniques. I'm already good at nothing but 500 years and I can perfect it. What's the difference between being good at doing nothing and being perfect at doing nothing? Nothing. All I hear is someone saying, John passed at the age of 110. And someone replying, he was so young. This was kinda my train of thought. If we could live to be 500 years old, I'd imagine it'd be a much rarer feat than someone nowadays living to be 100. Considering how easily damaged and accident-prone we are. For having big brains, we really are a fantastically flawed machine. Maybe if we lived that long, we wouldn't always be in such a hurry. Maybe it would make us more careful. Learning languages and just expanding general knowledge. Also seeing more of the world. Every 50 years we should all rotate one country to the left. Take it back now, y'all. If the past 2 months have taught me anything. Nothing. If the past 2 months have taught me anything, I'll start a bunch and then abandon them. Though with 500 years maybe I'd pick a few back up. We would act like 20-year-olds until we were 450 and then shove every last bit of live in the last little bit. So not much different emo. Was about to say procrastinating to the extreme, lol. I was gonna say that, but I never got around to it. Do we physically age the same, or is it spread out over time? In order for humans to live 500 years, they would have to age slower, or else our immune system would be too weak to live that long. We'd get really good at practicing safe sex for the sole sake of avoiding reproduction. As a matter of fact, there'd probably be a global restriction put in place only allowing people to reproduce once a century. Imagine seeing your great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren when you're around 400 years old. Any and every trade-based job, so therefore I don't have to spend a crap ton of money in order to maintain my home, vehicle, and just be able to rely on my own knowledge on being able to fix things, to be honest. The ultimate handyman. Tons of people do this already. Lately I've been working on memorizing every country's name and location on the globe. If I had 500 years, I could try to memorize every city. Question. Does this affect our reproduction? If so, how, and if not, then overpopulation would be rampant, thus driving our push for interstellar travel and colonization of habitable planets. If the latter, I'd put forth an effort to study geology, engineering, physics and medicine. I'd be an explorer, I'd search whole planets and build a life for those looking to leave an overpopulated Earth. If the former, I'd invest my life in childcare and education so that I could help raise my kids, grandchildren and great-grandchildren, as well as to teach them so that they themselves can be a positive influence on the world and the people who they meet. RimWorld. Learn every language. Like, even those endangered languages with 2 native speakers. Just try to learn Ithkuil now. But my Minecraft base finna be lit. There still won't be vertical slabs. God, I spend way too much time thinking about this topic. Cooking, music, architecture, medicine, teaching, writing. But most of all, conversing. Connecting with people through conversation is one of the most meaningful things a person can do, and I want to get better at it. There's not nearly enough time to cram all of this into a lifetime. Parkour would be a hell of a lot of fun to get exceedingly good at. Pushing my physical body to the limits of what's possible with extreme precision. Bring back Shinobi. Not much would change, probably. If a 500-year lifespan was normal for humans like a 70-ish year lifespan is normal for us, then our lives would just be spread out longer. In a world like that, school would last for like 30 years, you work for centuries, etc. Bonsai. I thought about that too, but I think the zen in bonsai is contributing to something that you won't see come to completion or fruition. By 100, virtuoso guitar by 200, piano maestro by 300, drums, baby by 400, ace of base by 500, harmonica blues master. Some futurists believe that the first person to live to the age of 150 is already alive right now, and the first person who will live to be 1,000 years old will be born by 2040. Interesting side note. Now let the reading continue. Maybe opening and running a vineyard. If I have 500 years, I'm sure I could make that happen before I go, and the only thing I know about it is that wine is good. Folding a fitted sheet. This guy. 500 years isn't long enough to master the art of fitted sheet folding. It's the rounded corners, they get you every time. Chess. It's a very intellectual game, and it would be nice to keep my mind sharp after all that time. Not the way my 7-year-old plays it, teh. Drawing. I find it so frustrating that I was never taught the fundamental basics of rendering 3D shapes on a 2D surface, the nitty-gritty of anatomy, rendering light and shadow correctly, and just overall becoming a badass artist. It's hard not to be bitter considering I found myself graduated from college woefully underskilled for the art jobs I wanted. I find myself 5 years out of college a lot better at art than I had been when I graduated college, but not good enough to get into the industry, yet. I hope I get good enough to get a job soon. I'd be able to shoot my age in golf. I would try and perfect a new language every year. Dumbledore spoke 150 languages, so I'm sure I could make it to 10. Same, spending 10 years learning languages wouldn't feel like so much if it was out of 500 rather than out of 80 to 100. I wish this was tagged serious. Haha, nothing, am so lazy. Haha. I'd perfect the ones I do. Photography and filmmaking. Woodworking and maybe the violin. I currently do woodworking projects as a hobby, and in 500 years I can only imagine the advances in the tools we use. I like to think I would be a grandmaster at it, creating art that is admired. I don't currently play the violin, but it's on my goals list. I started violin almost 3 years ago. Gosh, I wish I could have at least 100 more years to work on it. Anything that didn't involve breaking my hip at 75. The next 400 years would be pretty weak. What would have been your answer or question? Leave it in the comments below. Slap that like and subscribe button for more, and check out the link in the video description for even more answers. Peace out, and catch you in the next video.